All right, there you go. Good morning. Good morning or good night for those who are in the Philippines. Thank you. We are going to have our Thursday live chat. Thursday is one of the best days of my week because I consider Thursday as a junior. It's a junior Friday for me. How are you guys doing? I hope you're still there listening and stay with us. We are going to have a very interesting topic. This is happiness, how to create happiness to have a happy workplace. Again, I'm Christopher. I'm CEO and founder of Wyco Tax. This is a virtual outsourced tax and bookkeeping service solution in the US. Because of the platform that I provided, got the award of 2018 Business Minority of the Year here in the US with US Senate and Congress recognition because my advocacy is a continuous education for the community of Texas. Now, this segment or the Thursday live chat won't be possible without having my co-host for today. Again, she is the current chair of the Dallas Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce for Filipino American organization. She's also an occupational therapist, as she is the previous editor. Wow, she's a previous editor of the Asian Beat newspaper, an outstanding occupational therapy. She received that outstanding occupational therapy award, no other than Coach, the stunning, ever inspiring woman, no other than Coach Jill Lasaka. Hello, Coach Jill.
Hi, Chris. Good morning. Rise and shine, everyone. Good morning, Chris, and good morning to our viewers. Now, it's very freezing here in Dallas, but you know what? We have a very exciting and happy topic, and I think this is going to be a great conversations and happiness. Chris, when I think of my
Exactly.
when I was
Mhm.
very productive in life, I look back at those moments when my level of state of mind of happiness is so we'll dwell on that later on, but I'm very exciting host. We have a very exciting topic.
Exactly. That's the reason why I'd like to, for those listeners out there, I'd like you to type on the comment section or even on your wall, what or who makes you happy. Type in the comment section, either your dogs, your cats, your mom, your dad, your kids. Just type it and put it there. Just one word, what makes you happy, and we will try to give you some insights on how to keep that momentum, the state of happiness. But of course, the vision of the Chris and Jill live chat is to provide, to be a world class digital global space where mentors and coaches were sharing learnings, education, and programs to enrich the knowledge, the skills, and the mindset. It's all about the mindset of the global entrepreneur. Then our mission is to educate, empower, and inspire the global community of entrepreneurs, build and inspire a generation thought leaders, influencers, and dream builders, to also create a support and digital network for present and future entrepreneurs. Our values are educate, empower, and engage. All right, I'm so excited to introduce our guest speaker for tonight or for today, tonight, because there are also listeners from the Philippines. She's a close friend of mine. I met her many years ago, and then she became my advisor, my mentor about HR because she is a senior HR executive with over 20 years of experience. She's an executive coach and trainer. And you won't imagine that for the past 4 years, she is one of the 100 most influential Filipino women on LinkedIn. And now what she's doing is she's a coach for happiness, and no other than, I'd like to introduce our guest, our co-host for today, who's going to be our happiness life coach, and truly love, and I'm really inspired by her. No other than Ms Cielo Presas. Hello. Is
Good
that
evening, good morning.
Good
how are
Morning,
morning.
you?
everyone.
Hello.
Yes, whichever applies. Good morning and
Right.
good morning and good evening to everyone again. So thank you so much, Chris, for inviting me over, and thank you for introducing me to the lovely Jill.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
I really look forward to this because when you invited me over, I was just thinking of what to say. So you see. I've been talking about happiness for the longest time here in the Philippines, and I'm thinking of what else can I share for
Right.
people outside of the Philippines. So this is a this is an awesome opportunity for me as well. So thank you for the
Mich-
invitation.
Exactly.
yes.
Jill,
Michelle,
remember.
one of the things that we were very excited about was that because we have America has experienced what you call as the Great Resignation. So this is an economic trend in the last that started when the pandemic came in 2021, where there were in mass resignations of people leaving their jobs, and some of the reasons can range from the lack of fulfillment and the fears and the anxiety, and this has really created a lot of like conversations among people. So me and Chris believe that you would be a great resource person that can shed light on this great resignation trend and how we
Mhm.
can redirect the conversations to happiness.
Yeah. Um, First and foremost, it's not just me. There are a lot of people who have been talking about happiness, and I learned from them as well. So it's me learning from them, and me now sharing what I learned from them in order for other people to understand what we're going through and what directions they can do moving forward. So it's not mine. The concept is not mine. It's something that I really just want to share because I've learned this from a lot of people also outside of the Philippines. The only thing different is that because I am the Philippines, the practical examples are really for Filipinos, and it's right now that I'm trying to look at how similar it is for Filipinos in other countries, like in the States. The
Exactly, because
differences in the culture, yes. Yes,
yeah,
Chris?
like Jill and Michelle, one as me as an employer, one thing that we experience is a fast turnover of
Okay.
employees. People come and go, and then because of the COVID pandemic situation, it added that kind of distress emotionally with people, and that's why everybody has a role to continue this kind of positivity in the workplace. And that's the reason why I know that Michelle has a presentation about this for the happiness, like what are the tips in able to create
Okay.
that, right? Okay,
Yeah,
so
I,
we're
I
going to.
presented something very quick lang.
Yes. Hmm.
Yes. And this is something that is, can be used by people even outside of the Philippines. It's very generic. So, how happy people create happy workplaces. So, again, let's go to the next slide, Chris.
Hmm.
I know Ricardo is helping me out. Okay. So, we are targeting workplaces because of the pandemic. A lot of things has happened. People in the Philippines, we do have a lot of lockdowns. I don't know how it is in the States at this point, but in the Philippines, we have every 2 weeks or every month changes in the level of the lockdown, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, and it's really causing a lot of people problems. And the thing that really they really wanted to understand is how to be able to get through to the pandemic and still build a happy workplace. Now, the question now that I really wanted to ask people is, it's happiness is a concept. Alam niyo na, psychologists will always say that um, it's a term, but the term itself is a concept. Happiness is a concept. Now, the concept of happiness is best described by cheerfulness, joy, smiles, and if these are the things that are happening to a person, then you tag the person as happy. That's how it goes. So the concept of happiness and a happy workplace is again something that you decide. It's happiness is a decision. So
Mhm.
you don't find happiness, you create it. And that's the concept that I really wanted people to understand. And because this is one thing that I really am pushing for, that it's something that you create and it's not something that happens to you. It drives the point that it's something that needs the mind. No, it needs the mind
Right.
processes for you to be able to decide that you are happy. Now, how to create it, that remains to be the question that is to be asked. No, people will
Yeah,
be
so
asking, oh,
Michelle,
yes,
you're saying that it doesn't come naturally for everybody, for us by it doesn't. It's not a nature that happiness you're there. Correct.
no, no, no.
It's something that you have to practice.
It's something that you have to decide because
Hmm.
people people are reacting to different stimulus in
Mhm.
different ways. For some people, a stimulus may be depressing, but for some, it's, you know, no reaction. In the same manner that very little things can make people so cheerful and very happy, and still some people will say, no, it doesn't matter to me. So again, it is a choice, and it is something that is intellectual, something that the mind really decides. And that is one thing that we really wanted people to understand. We may be in a situation that it looks depressing, it sounds depressing, it smells depressing, but if in your mind you can still look for something positive about it, then you can build on that particular thought and build your own happiness. So again, happiness is a skill. Happiness is something that you create, and happiness is actually a choice. So,
Michelle, I'd
uh,
like to add on
yes,
something. Yeah,
yes, please,
as
please.
a coach, as an occupational therapist, I have seen people that have experienced a tremendous amount of injury and it affected
Mm,
life, they're disabled. But there are people that are able to bounce back so well that
oh,
despite their disability, they still have maintained that positive outlook in life. And going back to the conversation, I think we are all predisposed to a level of genetic code with our happiness, but a lot of that can be heavily influenced by our environment, by how we develop a time and effort to develop that mindset, to cultivate that culture. And I think that leads us to the question: how do an employee a happy mindset for employees?
a happy mindset for employees, actually, it's a full course if you be asking me. But it,
Right.
it's mindfulness. Mindfulness will mean you have to know where you are, you have to know what you want, you have to be in constant state of awareness of your reality of 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 who you are and how the environment is moving around you. So that degree of mindfulness will put you in a level that will seek you to do practices like we have meditation, we have uh, yoga where people are really more centered into themselves, but they will not be able to put themselves in those positions not unless they have acceptance of their realities. A lot of people will be saying that they went to yoga sessions, but at the end of the yoga sessions, they still feel unhappy. It's because there are parts and pieces that needs to be addressed first before people really go into the process of mindfulness. Again, I say it's really a long course, and what
Mhm.
we're centered in right now really is on how to understand happiness and how we can build our workplace so that it will support our drive to make people happy, or to make the workplace happier. Now, again, as I was saying, it's something that you do not find. It's something that you create, and
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult for some, especially when our mind, our brains are not supporting it. So, if
Yeah.
I may say, so I know you have had experiences that you have uh, uh, depressive people. I have had a lot of conversations with kids who have set their mind that they are unhappy. And even if
Yes.
they are living in grand big houses, given goes to exclusive schools, but they still find themselves unhappy. So it is because their minds are actually predisposed to go to the level that they do not see it, and then they focus more on what's causing them to go into that low level of emotionality. And it's really a very complex thing. But if we will be really driving ourselves into understanding how it will affect, our workplace, then again, the skill of the employer, the skill of HR is really important for the workplace to be happier. And that's actually where we would want to focus on. So if we'll be moving, I think I went a little bit late. So again, if we are building a happiness culture,
Okay.
we
Yes.
we will have to manage our perceptions, because again, people have cognitive biases. We were talking earlier about Filipinos in the Philippines, Filipinos in America. Those are two different people. Filipinos living here, no, and
Yes.
Filipinos living outside are different. And that not just that, we have Filipinos living in the provinces and Filipinos living in Metro Manila. Then I can still remember way back, people living
Mhm.
in Subic are very disciplined. Go to Manila, people are undisciplined. So again,
Right.
um, we have our biases, and it's all
Right.
running here in this level. So,
Mhm.
even
um,
even that
yes,
I think that affirms what Coach Jill was saying and what you were saying, Michelle, that on the recent study that it's not just about the per hour rate that makes an employee happy, but it's also the career path.
Right.
What are they looking in a certain
Right.
company, the corporate culture. I visited one of the back offices in the Philippines where they have massage therapists that visit them
uh,
randomly. On lunch they have this game, they have dart, they have a recreational activity during lunch. So that's the reason I think, like what you guys are mentioning about these are being made, it's all started with the benefits, with the things that they're looking forward during working hours. Even team building is important,
Chris,
correct?
yeah,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Chris, the corporate world is such a very stressful workplace for many Americans. The workplace have their own sets of expectations of how productive you can be within that 8 hours. So when people are not aware, going back to what Miss Shelley was saying, that awareness is very important. How we manage the expectations, that really determines the quality of our mindset, of our happiness index. When it's a that stressed is a given place, we are expected to produce, to deliver. But when we are able to manage these expectations, that they in fact motivate us to do better rather than prevent us from accomplishing our goals, then when you're able to manage it effectively, you will be better at adjusting and being remaining happy and motivated at work.
yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that. Here in the Philippines, you mentioned earlier, Chris. Here in the Philippines, the BPO has been really very. They are cognizant of the wants and needs of their employees, because um, we are servicing businesses not just in the Philippines but outside of the Philippines, and we need to make our employees happy. And in order for them to be happy, we have to make sure that the the programs of the company is aligned to what the employees need. So what you are seeing now is because the company has been driven by the fact that employees are their major investment. It's the major investment. If you will be losing people, you will be losing the business. So they have to make them happy. So if it is a happiness culture that they're having or they're pushing for the company, the retention is higher. If people are unhappy, they leave jobs. And then when they leave jobs, of course, business is really, really affected. That's why in the workplace, we really wanted employees to be happy. And again, you are correct in your observation that people will be leaving bosses, and probably the culture of the company rather than leaving because of the pay.
Exactly. Like even like simple gesture like on their birthdays, we try to
Yeah.
send them gift
Mhm.
cards like a Starbucks gift card, or somehow I've seen companies they're bringing donuts like last Valentine's Day, they're giving roses to all the women in the company. Those are simple gesture because it's really the thoughts that really counts more than the hourly rate. And one of the messages that been shared to me by a business owner is one of her employees shared to him that that he is the best boss ever when she gave when he gave those roses to each one of them. Those are like something that is priceless as a business owner, as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Human connection.
Chris, a while back, Facebook was credited for and for their innovations in making sure that the satisfactions of employees are high. So they've created some activities where people are for free coffee during breaks, for a 10-minute
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
conversation where people just there. So that created a lot of like well-being in terms of like, hey, I'm connected with it. And to that point, I think creating a workplace that's happy is both should be collaborative and a co-creation of both the company as a corporation. You have to
Uh,
have the mission. Your employees are important part of your company, and then as individuals, we also have to take responsibility for our own personal happiness. While we face many stress, we also have to take responsibility that we manage those stress at the level where we remain productive.
yeah.
Yes, and even for our viewers out there, what are the simple things that make you happy in your workplace? You are welcome to type your comment below. Any small things or big things are really a big value to keep the momentum and to keep your tenure in the company, to always be inspired. Now, the question here with the presentation of Michelle, who is the driver of happiness?
Who is the driver of happiness? But before I answer that, no. Um, Before I answer that, I just have to make this quick point that not all businesses can afford what we have mentioned earlier, the
Mhm.
perks to make employees happy, because especially in this time of pandemic, a lot of businesses, especially in the lower, not really lower level, more of the not the multinational companies. I'm saying about the run of the
Mhm.
mill businesses that we have. It's really very difficult because they are really scrimping on the money to be able to just pay their employees well. So if that is the case, no, I had one employee who um, who actually told me that he is happy that he has a job, and it actually struck me very strongly because here's a person, he's a driver, but he is happy because he said he has a job and other people don't. He has a job, he still has money to bring over and use for the family, and he is happy with that. So again, I think the whole point of me telling people that uh, the happiness is your choice. Again, whatever is happening outside, how you will be perceiving it will really determine if you will be happy or not. Which again
Right.
drives me to your question, your question to
Yes.
me. Who is the driver of happiness? Now, if you're an entrepreneur or you're the owner of your company, you have to believe in it that you are the driver. Okay. Now,
Correct.
if you are an employee, if you're an employee, you will not land a perfect job, but you will perfect the good job for you, just like the driver that I mentioned earlier. So, what is next after that? That is happiness. Again, how you design your life, then make your life better. So, again, who is the driver of happiness? I have a client right now, new client, and the company is actually in this array because people are fighting. Not really fighting. They have, you know how Filipinos are. We feel bad about this, we feel bad about that. And then they are not frontal. They are not frontal in
Right.
telling each other their differences. They don't sit down. So I had to step in.
Right.
But when I stepped in and had the discussion, things have cleared up, and now people are slowly becoming happier. And I keep telling them, guys, what do you have? What do you have right now?
Mhm.
What does other what do other people don't have? And it's just
Mhm.
again going back to what she was telling me earlier. It's perspective, right? And you have to guide them into coming to that perspective in order for them to lift and find that these are the things that they should really be happy about, and then they will have to decide about it. And that's where I always come in, because
Right.
when I do coaching for companies, I I I deal with just the top level. I most often than not deal with employees.
And the fuel,
Michelle,
who
I'd like
fuels
to add
the
something.
driver? Hmm.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, let me add. Things that I've come across, the true trait of a happy worker is one that has a grateful heart. Going back to your conversations earlier, who drives the happiness? It's us, because at the end of the day, we have for happens to us, whether there's pandemic, whether there's death, and going back, like what the pandemic reset for me. It gave me a time to rethink of how I
Mhm.
perceive myself, how my work validates my vision and mission in life. And when I took responsibility to take the time to understand that, that made me become more in control and powerful in aligning my present life. It gave me more deeper meaning. It gave a deeper connection to who I was, and I've always been happier than ever. And I live life with conviction, much more deep that I am the fuel, I am the driver of my own happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the like what I've always believed, that the first customer of the company is not the customers themselves, but the employees. Because
Mm.
if you will take care of the employees, they will take care of your customers. That's why quarterly evaluation is something, getting feedback from the employees inside. We would like to be impartial about, having a manager from the lowest position. We try to have quarterly evaluation so we could get feedback, and then we can come out with something where we can meet halfway in terms of the
Yeah.
benefits, in terms of the leave. Those are very important. And we do not want to put their names when they created a survey, or when they fill out a survey. We do not want them to put their names, so they could have more kind of freedom of expression through this survey. Is that something healthy? Michelle being an HR?
In HR, it, when we do performance feedback, no, we know there are a lot of types. We have 360, you evaluate the one on top and then the one who's following you, and then you evaluate yourself as well.
Mhm.
In the course of the performance evaluation, which is like this, you have a solid, you will come up with a solid profile of the person as a leader, as a co-worker, and as a person who is a subordinate. And that actually helps, especially if it's not just the performance evaluation you're doing, but you are picking on the spots where people can improve, and you are also picking the spots where people are really doing extra well. And that is the whole point of having the performance eval. Now, how
Mhm.
will this activity also help people be happy? You know, people are happier if they know that you're honest. And
Mm-hmm.
again, part of the performance appraisal is for us to be really very transparent. And transparency will mean we identify, we name the people that we're talking about, and
Mhm.
then of course this has to be supported by incident reports. You know, of if this person has really been very good, what are the incidental reports that will be supporting your evaluation? It's a complex thing, you know, the performance eval. And unlike before that you just say he's good, he's not good, but became it has transformed itself into a complex
Mhm.
exercise, the focus of which is
Right.
for the person to improve. So I am really for naming. Otherwise, um, I won't be able to target the person, and I will not be able to make a better decision for the person's improvement as well. So that's how it is. So that's HR talking. That's HR talking, not the happiness coach
Right.
talking there. Okay. So
Hello, I
again,
remember, I just want to share my experience. Yeah, I remember that when I was working company, very as to me as a worker when my boss give me a feedback immediately and on my performance because those reinforces that the values of the company aligns with what I want to do as a therapist. And then when I became an entrepreneur, I made sure that the people that were working under me in my company, I want to make sure that I create that open communications where I give them feedback when the numbers are high, when the productivities are high, they are given verbal recognition or reinforcements,
mhm,
or they get some of gifts, Jollibee. And when things are going bad or when we're struggling with our collection, we have an open discuss very difficult situations, yet it's focused on solving the problem, on generating so that problems. And those approaches has really helped build my business. And me as a worker, I feel like I'm validated as a worker for the value that I bring into the
mhm.
company.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's actually very fine practice of performance evaluation. You can see how it has improved not just the business but the people working with you and even yourself, right? And again, you know how Filipinos are. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. So we can tell people straight to their faces na, guy, you have been absent for several times this
Right.
month, you know. And because Filipinos have been well have we have actually been welcoming a lot of businesses from outside, like the US, UK, and these are things that we have learned from
America.
them. Yeah, we have learned from them. That is to be very
I think
uh, direct.
I have a hard hitting question for the
those
two of
are
you.
very important. Yeah, go ahead. Go
When do
ahead.
you separate the personal and work topics? You've experienced somebody's asking for advance payment or something happened. How do you guys deal with it?
Um, Personnel and
Yeah, like when there's an employee
Like,
comes in and then can I have advance payment or can I have a
oh yeah,
leave
yeah,
for 1 week
personal.
because I have to do this, I have to do that. Because you that makes them happy to have that kind of in the vacation, but at the same time, that's what I've
Mhm.
experienced in the hospital. You ask for holidays, Christmas and New Year. How do you deal with the drawing the line of business and personal matters?
in the companies that I have worked with, we are it's actually aligned with me because I'm a planner and I
Mhm.
make sure that everything is planned. Leaves are planned as well. Now we have accommodations for people who are in dire straits. There is a family emergency. Now we have those in place. And if people need some money for whatever personal things that they need, we also have that in place. Again, Filipinos have been like that for the longest time. I'm talking about the companies I've been in, which are really multinationals. But for, again, small businesses, that is a little bit harder to manage because the relationship is really very personal because you're just five in the office, and like you have 5,000 in your office. It's different. So you draw the line. You have to be able to draw the line about where business ends and where personal starts.
Right.
One of the
Right.
BPO, just one. I have one BPO that I
Right.
do consulting work. The bosses are very nice that anyone who needs money can approach them anytime. And if they really need money, they let them borrow.
Yeah.
However,
Chris, oh, mhm.
let me say just the however.
Yeah.
However, some of
Mhm.
these people are leaving the company immediately. They went on AWOL, and the money that they have actually lent, they were not able to get back. So they learned from that, and then that's the time that we have to put some
Right.
systems in place.
Yes. Okay, go ahead, Coach Jill.
Chris, here in America, yeah, here in America, the system or the rules on the benefits and where the personal and the professional boundaries are very clear. They're very set up. Now in the Philippines, it's kind of a challenge, especially when you have employees who are your family members and people that have depended their lives and their livelihood on you. And so I always, my point of reference is that if it's much, if I'm giving all my limbs and I cannot function and I cannot grow as a company, then that's the. But if the request is reasonable that they want to borrow 1,000 because their child is in the hospital, or that they need to take time off the family, then I use it of negotiation. Okay, we can give you that to you, but we'll try to make it somewhere else. So I think it's really just trying to understand that while they are workers, they are also human beings that we
Yeah,
need to appreciate their value, to make sure it keeps on growing, because when they don't have a clear understanding of that, boundaries can be overtaken, and it can sacrifice, the business can be sacrificed. But when they are
yes,
invested, that their lives are connected to the business, they have better understanding, and they will understand you better, and they will accommodate your request.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
one thing
agree.
that I learned from attending HR, managing people, manage the expectation but not the person. That's why there are manuals and policies to kind of meet halfway. It's always managing the expectation
Yes.
but do not manage the person. That's what you call micromanaging. But
Yeah.
then you cannot give what you don't have. That's why we're gonna go to proceed on our last 5 minutes. What is your personal application? How do you keep yourself happy? Because happiness doesn't mean the absence of problem. It's just you focus more on good things in
No.
your life rather than letting the negativity. Like when there's the glass of water, it's clear water. That is our body. That's our mind. If you put a
Mhm.
pinch of tint there of that negative thought, it ruined the whole rest of your day.
Yes.
Guys, on your
Mhm.
end, how do you keep yourself in the state of happiness? Let's begin with Michelle.
How do I keep myself happy? Just
Yes.
to just to give you specifics about it, there are a lot of things that should make me unhappy, but you know, I have decided that all of these are temporary, and I just don't dwell on it. And
Mhm.
for those that I can do something about, I I just have a decision. I just make a decision that I'll do something about it. And when the process is there, then I am happier. I am more cheerful. I just have to let it out. That's the thing. My process is when I feel unhappy, I write about it, I post
Mhm.
it, and then after a while, a day, it's actually just a day or half a day. Whatever I posted, I take it down, or whatever I've written, it's just there. And then it's something for me to reflect and look back on. But again, I practice what I preach. So
Yes.
I always make sure that
That's
my
wonderful.
feet, yeah, my feet are, flat on the ground. I know where I am, and there's the only way that I can really go is to go forward. So I keep
Yes.
myself
Yeah.
happy because of that.
How
Yes.
about you, Coach Jill? Do you do the same?
Yes. Chris, I've always defined happiness as a mindset of joyful living, and I made that a self-definition. It gave me more alignment of my own values, my own personal mission. And when I did created that, I was able to cultivate that gratitude, and that spirit of gratitude has been my defining strategy. Every day I count that I have a great job, that I have a company that feeds people and brings roof to their head. And when I do that, it makes me a bigger person in terms of the mind that what stresses that I go through. I just lost my mom.
Yes.
10 core values is that I am here for a purpose, and this purpose is to live the best life. And that has really given me that simple strategy of practicing gratitude has really helped me
Yeah, the
to
show must
remain
go
happy.
on, right?
The show
On
must go on.
our
Yeah.
yeah, whatever you have, like people you undergoing
What about you,
personal
Chris?
issues. Well, I actually do what you guys are doing, but I'm the type of guy who watch cat videos, dog funny videos on TikTok. I, I always watch for funny videos. That's one thing.
Oh yeah.
Then I also like to travel, like driving
Oh
from one
yes.
place to another. It gives you that kind of serenity and calmness. And listening to inspirational books or speakers like Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Les
Yeah.
Brown, those are the people because they said these people have been there, done that. And it's not
Mhm.
because it's not just about you keep improving your skills and knowledge, but also your perspective on dealing with certain situations. And I like what Michelle was saying that this is only temporary.
Yes.
Your temporary situation will not determine your future.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, happiness is a choice, is a state of mind, but it needs to be done daily. But in able for that to be done daily, it should be together with other people that keeps pushing you and pulling you to the place where you want to go. It cannot, no man is
Right.
an island. We always have to address
Mhm.
to other people about our situation, but the right quality people that have a bigger comprehension about things,
Yeah.
right? And one thing, I don't watch news.
Study that,
Yes, Coach Jill.
right? One of the most interesting things, one of the they found out during the pandemic was this is the period in human history where there's a highest percentage of people traveling and pursuing a hobby, whether it's reading, whether it's gardening, whether it's cooking. So this difficult times has created an opportunity to be happy. We just have to be aware of our ability to, change our perspective and remain focused and happy.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think we had a great
There,
conversation today.
there you go. Yes. Speaking of happiness, on our next Thursday live chat, this we do this every 2 weeks. So please, our next topic: how to turn your struggles to success. This is very exciting, and this is something that everybody can relate. Struggle. We are in the pandemic. How can you turn it to success? Again, I would like to thank Coach Jill and also Ms Cielo for being part of our conversation today, guys. If you learned something, what are your
Thank you.
takeaways? All right. So again, if you need their contact information, it will be provided on the group. Feel free to contact them directly for the services that they do offer. Again, thank you for watching the Thursday live chat. Here in Thursday live chat, we are pushing global entrepreneurs to be unstoppable, unbeatable. So guys, have the rest good of your night or good of your day here in America. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Thanks,
Bye bye.
Jill.
Thank you,
Thank
Michelle.
you.
Bye.
We've learned a lot from you. You have a good night.